If you've been feeling overwhelmed lately, like your emotions are running the show, like you're stuck in loops of anxiety, frustration, or overthinking. If you've ever said, "This is just how I am," or felt like you can't seem to get out of what you're feeling, or if you're on this path of growth and you know there's more available to you, but you keep getting pulled back into the same emotional patterns, this episode is for you. Because today we're going to go to the root of something that keeps people stuck, and most don't even realize they're doing it. Hello, and welcome to the Aligned Human Project podcast, where consciousness meets creation and alignment becomes a way of life. I'm your host, Dawn Elgin, contrarian soul guide and founder of Practical Spiritualism. And today we're diving into something foundational. You are not your emotions. And the moment you truly understand that, not just intellectually, but experientially, your entire life begins to shift. Welcome to the Aligned Human Project podcast, where consciousness meets creation and hustle gives way to harmony. I'm Dawn Elgin, contrarian soul guide, spiritual CEO, and founder of Practical Spiritualism. This is a space where we explore what it truly means to be human, aligned, awakened, and in flow with the field of life itself. Together, we'll bridge science and spirit, energy and embodiment, purpose and prosperity, so you can remember who you are beneath the programming and reclaim the power to create in full alignment with your soul. Because the next evolution of humanity isn't out there, it's in here. This is the Aligned Human Project. Before we begin, pause. Not mentally, physically. Feel your body for a moment and just notice. What are you feeling right now? Don't label it quickly, just sense it. Now ask yourself, is that me? Or is that something moving through me? Because that distinction is the difference between suffering and freedom. And most people have never been taught how to see it. So let's start at that root. We were taught how to name emotions, but not how to relate to them. We were taught to express them, suppress them, manage them, but not witness them. So we grew up saying things like, I am anxious, I am overwhelmed, I am angry. And that language seems harmless, but it does something very specific neurologically and psychologically. It fuses identity with experience. In neuroscience, this is tied to self-referential processing. The brain has a network, often called the default mode network, DMN, that constructs your sense of self. And when you say, I am anxious, the brain encodes that emotion into identity. It's no longer a passing state. It becomes self-definition. And what the brain identifies as self, it tries to maintain. That's the mechanism. You see, we often say, I am, unconsciously. What do I mean by that? Unconscious means habitual. We are not consciously aware. We're not paying attention to what really comes out of our mouth and making sure that we mean what we say. We're moving fast. We're in a fast world. We're at this point where pausing for 1 second, even while recording a podcast or a YouTube, we're suggested to cut out even a breath. That's crazy. It's not even enough time to process the information. So what happens is we unconsciously say things like, I am. And this is how identity language starts to reinforce our patterns. What do I mean by that? Well, even things such as, the identity we have to injuries. Myself, I'll use. So when I was first in 2 car accidents, 6 days apart, just over 8 years ago, 8.5 years ago now, I began the identity of I have a brain injury. I am a person with a brain injury. So now I've got this identity. And if this anchors, how can I possibly heal? Even if I say I am healing from a brain injury, then I remain in the healing state. We know this. There's tons of science around it. And so I was lucky. I had a great doctor, and she was really on me about my language. And so it became I am experiencing a brain that is injured. It's passing. It's something I'm experiencing, but not something I'm living with, not for the rest of my life. When I identified as I am a survivor, what I was doing was I was identifying with all of my past experiences. I was bringing them all with me up until that moment. And the problem with that is when we're in an identity of a survivor, which is really a fighting victim, or the identity of a victim, whether that's a victim of an injury, a victim of a car accident, a victim of anything that has happened in our past, we're now cultivating that as our identity. And we can't overcome that truly. It always holds us back, it slows us down. The weight of that baggage, WEIGHT, directly impacts the weight, WAIT, or the length of time it takes me to manifest or create the life that I desire. And this is normal language. We do it all the time. Even from things such as an illness. I am a cancer survivor. No, you are the one that experienced a body experiencing cancer. It's hard because they become such ingrained identities that it's terrifying to let them go. And that's just part of the amygdala's experience of Chicken Little. You see, language isn't just expression, it's programming. And this is where suffering begins. Emotion itself is not suffering. Emotion is movement, motion, energy in motion, energy rising, peaking, falling. But identification interrupts that movement. So because the moment you say, this is me, you create an attachment. And attachment creates resistance. And resistance creates suffering. This aligns with cognitive fusion, which is acceptance and commitment therapy. So cognitive fusion is when thoughts and emotions are experienced as literal truth and identity. Diffusion is creating space between awareness and experience. So studies show greater cognitive fusion, our identification and belief, gives us higher anxiety, depression, reactivity. Greater diffusion, the creation of space or pause, gives us increased flexibility, resilience, and emotional regulation. This isn't just spiritual, it's measurable. So an example of this would be the anxiety loop. We have the thought, we wake up in the morning and I am anxious. Why am I anxious? What is happening here? It must be because this is going on and this is going on. And it starts creating a story. And all of a sudden, instead of just having this experience of an emotion of anxiety, it rises, peaks to be experienced, and then it falls. Now what's happened is we've helped it, or we held on to it, we attached to it using thought that starts to create a loop. And now it doesn't get to leave. Another one would be anger. We're driving down the road and somebody flips us the bird or does something, and we just start looping and we justify and make excuses to hold on to our anger as a way to protect ourselves over and over and over again. And so instead of it being an emotion, energy in motion, suddenly it becomes a mood. Repeat it often enough, becomes your personality. Overwhelm, same thing. We wear busy as a badge of honor. I'm overwhelmed. We're using it to protect ourselves. See how important I am. See how busy I am. See all that I'm doing in this world. I know this role. I've played these roles very, very well in my past. And I have to be cautious to not get stuck into them now. So here we are wearing busy as a badge of honor. And what we also are doing, but most often we don't want to acknowledge, is we're putting up a force field that says, I'm too busy, don't put another thing on my plate. And so we're using it as a defense mechanism to not have anybody put more there. So you see, you're not suffering from the emotion, you're suffering from being fused with it. So if you're not the emotion, who are you? Well, you are awareness. You are the one that is noticing. You are the field in which experience arises. And we can prove this directly. If you can observe something, it's not you, subject object, because the observer and the observed are not the same thing. So you are either the subject or the object. And this connects to meta-awareness in neuroscience. Meta-awareness is the awareness of your own thoughts and emotions. More specifically, meta-awareness is the ability to recognize and observe your own thoughts, feelings, and mental processes, allowing you to step back from them and understand their impact on your behavior and your emotions. And it activates the prefrontal cortex, and it reduces activity in the emotional reactivity centers, such as the amygdala. So the translation here, the moment you observe an emotion, you change your relationship to it. Have you ever noticed yourself mid-reaction? Who noticed that? That noticing is you. But even when people understand this, emotions are designed to complete. They are biological cycles. They arise from the limbic system. They move through the body and resolve when processed. But processing doesn't mean thinking. It means feeling and staying present with it. Emotions typically move through the body in 60 to 90 seconds when not resisted. This is Dr. Jill Bolte Taylor's research. But most people interrupt the cycle and they restart it with a thought loop, and they loop it with a story. So instead of 90 seconds, it becomes hours or days or years. What do I mean by years? Something happens to us and we become bitter. We resent the experience. And 5 years, 10 years, 20 years goes down the road and somebody says to you, why are you so angry? And you say, well, 20 years ago, this happened to me. Okay, but it's not happening to you now. And this is what I mean by weight, W-E-I-G-H-T, equals weight, W-A-I-T. Here's the analogy. Call it the bus analogy. So just picture this. An emotion gets on the bus and it sits down beside you. It's not there to stay. It's there to move. But when you avoid it, judge it, analyze it, distract from it, scrolling, ignoring, you keep it seated, not because it wants to stay, but because it hasn't been witnessed. And just like us, energy wants to be seen and heard. And when we witness an emotion, we allow it to rise and fall, it can leave. It literally gets up and gets off the bus. It's quite beautiful. So the question here is, where do you avoid emotion most? Which emotions do you judge? Which ones feel unsafe? So where do you avoid emotions the most? Well, often it is in uncomfortable situations. Maybe it is when you're alone, or maybe it's when you're around a bunch of people. Maybe it's the fear of being judged by your emotions, which makes you avoid them altogether. Which emotions do you judge? Well, maybe it's fear. You don't want to be a coward. Maybe it is anger because you've been told that it's evil. Maybe it is anxiety because it's uncomfortable in your body. Which emotions do you judge? Or maybe you judge joy because it feels good. See, we always think of judgment is bad, but we're also judging when we make something good. We don't allow it to move. And what happens even when we judge something as a good emotion, then we try to cling to that. Or we compete and we go, we have an experience and it doesn't feel that good, then it must not be that good. And we don't allow ourselves to stay present in the experience with whatever emotion arises. It's the judgment of the emotion that is linked to our suffering. And then which ones feel unsafe to feel? Well, for most of us, anxiety, panic, unworthiness, love unreceived, heartache. There's these ones that feel painful. And so we try to get the hell away from them. See, pain is inevitable. It's part of our human experience. Suffering is optional. And suffering is what happens when you don't allow life to move, when you don't allow yourself to stay present with life as it moves through you. Because an unfelt emotion doesn't disappear, it stores. I want you to pause with me for a second, not later, right now, and just notice what you're feeling in your body as you're listening to this. Has something come up? Do we have a dislike? Do we have a trigger? Did I bump something? I hope so. There's something there. There's always something there. And here's the question. Are you aware of it? Or are you already inside of it? Because that right there, that is the entire difference. The difference between being lost in an emotion and being the one witnessing it. And most people never notice the moment they cross that line. They just become it. So if you're even 1% more aware right now than you were 5 minutes ago, you are already shifting. So let's talk about what to actually do with that. The practice is very simple, not necessarily easy. So instead of I am anxious, we say this is anxiety, or I am experiencing anxiety. Instead of I am angry, we'd say this is anger moving through me. That shift creates space. This is called affect labeling. And studies show that naming an emotion reduces amygdala activity. It increases prefrontal regulation. Literally, naming the emotion calms the brain. Instead of an unknown threat, it becomes a known experience. No longer is the emotion the boogeyman in the closet. So let's take this just a little bit deeper. And if you have a book or a piece of paper and a pen nearby, you can pause this, grab them, and let's write it down. If you're driving, walking, moving while you're listening to this, maybe then you just softly or in your head say the things out loud as we're going into them. So right now, notice what you're feeling. Just notice it. And what I want you to do is first, we're going to name it just softly. Maybe you know the name of it. And if you don't, that's okay. The name for it might come in a moment. It's all right. But what I want us to do is start to witness it by writing it. So where in your body do you feel it? Upper abdomen, shoulders, neck, lower abdomen? Do you feel it in your pelvis? Your heart? Where do you feel the energy of an emotion right now? And what does it taste like? What does it smell like? Does it have a color? How dense is it? Is it thick and heavy, light, fluttery? What's its texture? Is it spiky, smooth, sinuous? How does it move? Is it staticky? Is it moving from left to right, right to left? Does it turn round and round? Is it like butterflies? Does it move up and down? Just notice it. Just breathe into it as you're noticing it, even if it's discomfort. You can think, dislike, great. I dislike this sensation. Stay there and breathe. Breathe right into that feeling. Does it move? Does it change positions? Can you name it? And just stay for one breath longer. And if the space allows for this, what emotion is underneath it? Because energy is always in motion. So when one leaves, another arrives. It's a busy bus. What's there? You see, space is what allows movement. And we create space with that pause. And this is where we need to get really clear, because there are two different things that are happening here. One, there is you, the witness, awareness, pure consciousness, the one aware, the one witnessing. And then there's what you're experiencing. In the work I teach, we call this field and form. The field is your internal energetic landscape, your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your nervous system state. And all of that lives in your personal field. And the form is what gets created from that. Your actions, your reactions, your words, your patterns, your results. And most people are trying to change their life by controlling the form, fixing the behavior, fix the reaction, fix the outcome. But the form is not the problem. The form is the reflection. And the field is not you. You are the one aware of the field. So now we have 3 layers. We have you, awareness. We have the field, thoughts, emotions, and beliefs, identity. And then we have form, what that field has created. And here's the shift. When you identify with the field, your life gets run unconsciously. When you become aware of the field, you begin to change it. Not by forcing, but by seeing it, by choosing it. Does this thought align with who I want to be? Choose again. Because awareness stabilizes the field. And when the field is stabilized, the form reorganizes. That is the work. So law 3 of field and form is the law of presence. Specifically, presence equals power. When attention leaves the present moment, power leaves with it. When awareness stabilizes, emotion reorganizes, thought reorganizes. What do I mean by this? Well, it's the difference between reacting versus observing. So somebody says something to you and it triggers you, it bumps into a wound or a bruise, and you react. Don't touch that. Don't say that. Don't do that. And so instead of observing and witnessing the whole moment, we're reacting to it. We're not responding anymore. And we start to try to control instead of allow. We start to force instead of witness. We see the problems in our world right now. Instead of us each working on healing those wounds, we spend a lot of time trying to force and control people to act in a certain way that doesn't bump into them, which just means we stay locked in the past. Whereas when we allow, we recognize people are being themselves and we have calm conversations and ask more questions and get curious, we get into a state of allowance. We start to witness the world around us and its beauty. Instead of trying to force and control an outcome, we move towards flow. The key here is you don't fix the form. You stabilize the field. So what does this look like in real life? Okay, so this week, pause when emotion arises. Just notice it. Name it. Stay with it. Even 10% longer than usual. That's the practice. Take a couple breaths before you pick up your phone and scroll. This can look like doing it during conflict. While scrolling itself, can you just pause and feel in? Or when we're feeling overwhelmed? That pause is sovereignty. And this is where everything shifts. You don't need to become someone new. You need to stop identifying with what you are not. You are not your anxiety. You're not your anger. You're not your overwhelm. Those are experiences moving through you. And the moment you stop calling them me, you create space. And in that space, everything changes. Because suffering isn't coming from the emotion itself. It's coming from the moment you become it. From the moment you judge it as good or bad, right or wrong. And freedom doesn't come from controlling your emotions. It comes from no longer being defined by them, from sitting with them without collapsing into them. You are not here to be fixed. You are here to remember yourself. The part of you that is steady, aware, untouched by every passing state. And if you feel how powerful this is the work we do inside Align Your Life and inside the Aligned Human Project. Learning how to live from awareness instead of reaction. Learning how to regulate your field so your life is no longer being run by unconscious patterns. The links to these are in the show notes if you feel called. Alignment isn't something you achieve. It's something you return to. You are the witness. You shape the field, and the field shapes your life. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to remember yourself. Because when you align with your truth, everything else begins to align with you. If this episode sparked something inside you, hit follow or subscribe and share it with someone walking their own path of awakening. And if you're ready to go deeper, you'll find free resources, programs, and community spaces waiting for you at practicalspiritualismco.com. Remember, alignment isn't a place you reach. It's a practice you live. So keep pausing, keep feeling, keep aligning. You are the field. You shape the form.